Okay, so time to revisit the two areas that look like it needs some more work. That would be the sky and this mountain range over on the right. I think that it's working better over in the center where we did some color adjustments. So for that one, it's going to be pretty easy. You know what I forgot to do? Please don't follow suit on this. Label everything. So hue and saturation 2 isn't as useful as hue and saturation trees. So would have been good to label all of that, huh, class? Yeah. So, label stuff. Labeling stuff's good. All right, so I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to do this hue and saturation adjustment. And again, I'm not going to worry about hitting up actually it looks good on the house. Maybe I'll do the house too. Oh, I like that actually. I'm going to touch that up a bit. Oh, yeah, that's nice. What do you think? Too much? Too little? I think what I'm going to do is this. Let's go ahead. That's a happy accident, as Bob Ross would tell us. So I'm going to load in that selection. Load selection, and that is the foreground objects. Tell it OK. I'm going to just fill those with black real quick. Kaboom. So I've got that in. I'm going to duplicate this hue and saturation trees. And I'm going to call this hue and saturation house. Front. House. Front. Okay, I'm going to fill the adjustment layer with black. Control delete. And then I'm going to load in the selection. Select. Load selection. This is why going select, save selection, and saving your selection can be super useful if you've done that. Or if you save the masks individually in the channels palette, do the same thing. It's a great way to store stuff. Front wall, okay. Now notice it doesn't fit in super well. What can we do about that? Well, since it's on its own layer, we could go to opacity and we just lower the opacity. Just give it a little kiss of adjustment. Oh, that looks a lot better, doesn't it? I say yeah. Maybe the windows would be a good thing to block back in with the black in this case. Maybe not. Well, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. Yep. Okay, so I like that a lot better. Now, this is color adjustment, so to each their own. You may be looking at this and going, it looks terrible. Why would you do that? Well, don't do that then. Do it a little differently. I think just a little bit, maybe even less, like 5%. Yeah. Okay, I'm liking that. All right. Boats look good. Love the mountain. Sky needs work. Let's go ahead and hit up that sky. In fact, I may even go as far as let's go ahead and just, you know what? The sky looks better than it did before, that's for sure. But let's go ahead and let's start up another adjustment layer just for the sky. I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. I'm going to control click on the sky mask. Notice how it's loaded in as a selection. By the way, that's how I did this conversion. I originally, to get all of these selections, I just painted on new layers, filled them up with white, paint. And then once I was done with that, control click on the layer, boom, and then I had a selection. I saved the selection. That's one way to do it. I did that for the sky and a couple other pieces. All right, so now that I have a selection of the sky, I'm going to go to the adjustment layers, curves, and I'm going to just try to do this a little bit more subtly. There we go, a little bit more subtly. And I'm watching out for grainy damage because that's not something I want this time. Because I'd love to push this further, but I don't want that. Oh, you know what we could do? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and push it. And not worry about the damage just yet. Right? So we've got all this damage. But you know what else we have is a mask. So I'm going to control click on the mask. And I'm going to get the gradient tool. G. And I'm going to switch it so that, remember way back in your beginning class, or if you missed that class, I'll just say now, you have a few default gradients, including one that goes to a transparency. check out what I can do. Since it's going to transparency, I'll just fill in with black. Oops. But way out in space here. G for gradient. And just touch, just a little bit. Touch. So now if we alt click on this mask to look at it, see what we got? It's just a little bit of gray, which you can use on masks, don't forget. And so it means that we're not applying the full adjustment layer to the area that's getting granulated. And so we have less damage on it. And admittedly, we have less color correction too, so do watch out for that. But since I've done it on both sides, I kind of like that effect. I think that's kind of interesting. I might feel differently tomorrow because I've been working on these videos for a while, so I might just be going a little crazy. So that's actually another secret for doing a really great assignment. Getting up and walking away for a while. Then coming back, feeling refreshed and looking at it with new eyes. You'd be surprised what you'd spot. Things that you'd think were working and things that you think wouldn't be working, all of a sudden it's very different. And so do keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is clipping down, 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 down. Okay, so we've got the sky. I'm going to do one more adjustment with the sky. This time, going to make a new adjustment layer. This time I'm going to do one more time hue and saturation. Yeah, you knew it was coming, didn't you, class? I got to grab my adjuster, and I'm just going to increase the vibrance on the I think on the sky and the water. In this case, look at how bright that water got. I like that. Oh, actually, I don't like the blue tint happening over in the house. We worked so hard to get rid of that. But man, the rest of it just looks so vibrant. So let's do this. Go ahead and load in the foreground objects. Select, load selection. Foreground objects. Okay, it's a good idea to save those selections. And grab a big old brush and have it low at like 20%. And mask it out, maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. So what's that look like? Let's alt click. So you can see a softer brush is what's letting me do this. It's not getting weird artifacts or anything. Okay, so 5 passes should get 20%, 40, 60, 80, 100%. So let's take a look. Oh, yeah, I think that's pretty good. What do you think, class? I think that ties it together pretty well. You know what else might work well? Never hurts to check. There is, you may have forgotten since it's been a little while, something called vibrance. And sometimes it's nice just to turn up a little bit of vibrance. Oh, keep in mind, I do want to clip it to everything below. You can also crank up the saturation here if you felt like it, but I think that's overdoing it. You can also decrease the saturation. So I'm just going to increase the vibrance a little bit, and that's just the same thing as reducing the pushing the grays towards black or white in the channels, the individual color channels. That's where the vibrance is coming from on those. All right, so before, after, before, after. Very slight difference. On my monitor, you might be seeing more. I think this looks pretty good. All right, I'd say overall, pretty good job. So let's go ahead and save this one, and that'll be it for the touch-ups. Last step will be to do the side-by-side comparison. Okay, I'll see you next video.